Are you ready?
Yes.
That was terrible. Let's do that again. I'm going to leave it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, that's better. Hey, kids. Warts and all. I'm leaving it all in.
Yeah.
Leaving it in now.
I committed it to it the second time.
That's right. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, Jon Peckman Podcast. That's where we are. I'm not going to say all the rest. We're going to do everything different now today, all of a sudden. Yeah. Like and subscribe, though. Tell your friends, be on the show with me. Have your own podcast here. Dave will tell you how. I'm here with my friend Al Guimaraes. He's been here before.
Yes, a two-timer.
Yeah, that's fine. We're at that point for sure. Al, at least in my world, for whatever it's worth, I've only known. I think you're the only out of three, like actual writers of music who write consistently, always who write.
Yeah, I fancy myself a writer.
That's you. You know, I've only known three people like that in all my years, for whatever that's worth. But
yeah,
a legit, real, banging them out.
Who were the other two?
One was a guy, Tony Richards, when I was in a band called the K-Man Band out in the Northwest Corner when I kind of started my career, and he had a band. It was all original, and he was like he would bang them out all the time. So that was him. I mean, I've known people that write, but you're always in a thing, like you're in it. It seems to me like you are.
Yeah.
Tony Richards, James Velvet from New Haven was another one of those guys. Always writing something, always recording something, always doing something. And then I met you.
Huh.
So.
Well, I guess I'm in good company.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I know, like I say, I know people that write songs, but it seems like you're like in a perpetual album at all times.
Or three.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got two things happening at the moment.
Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, playing gigs here and there. And so I record for Al whenever he has stuff for me to do.
Which is always.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. And nice setup. By the way, so these drums that you hear in our beautiful theme, those are Al's drums, by the way. And the Tom Izzo playing everything. So we did a session. I'll just let it play. Why not?
Now we've heard that 3 times.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, that's interesting. I recorded a song for a James Velvet, the second guy that I mentioned, who was a writer, sadly passed away.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's been, 5-6 years, something like that. And, there was word around the campfire that we were going to make a tribute album, and I claimed a song right away. I was like, I want to do this one. And I think we did I did a session with you, and I said, can I just record pictures of.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, and that was it. And then, so I did record that song. I don't think anything ever happened, but I'm ready. Like, as soon as I hear it, the project's
track,
out. Here it is. And then when this show came around, and I was like, we got to have a theme. I recorded it with Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
That James Velvet thing. And I said, can you write a theme? He goes, yeah, I'll just take that drum track and cut it up. And that's 4th time. That's that.
It is.
So anyway, your drums are heard.
Yeah.
Every week on the show.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a cool kit.
The little Remo kit.
Yeah. No, it's killer. Yeah.
18-inch kick. It's tiny.
Yep. I've made, a lot of recordings on that kit, including this one.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway. So what do you got? What are you doing?
So I just released a collection of tunes.
Yeah.
That's called Diminished Fifth.
What does that mean?
It's.
I think I know. But.
Yeah, a lot of the records I've done, I try and make a musical reference. Like the first one was Blues in C, S-E-E, but
right.
I kind of a reference to the key of C. Then there was.
Were all those songs in the key of C?
They were not.
Oh, okay.
No, they were not.
That's next.
But they also had a lot of them had a theme of seeing things and seeing life for the way it is. So that's kind of where. And then,
I thought they were all blues songs.
No.
Okay.
No. There's another album that's mostly blues songs.
Right.
I'll talk about that.
Right.
I got one of those.
Yes, it's always something.
Yeah. But the blues in C was more about when you come to awareness, you can't help but get the blues by seeing things. So a lot of the songs came like that was the theme of that group.
Yep.
Then there's another one, Dancing in G, which was that was more upbeat, and it was G as in the
Gee whiz.
Yeah, wonder, right?
Yeah,
so it was about being more positive.
Yep.
And then there's a couple other little collections like those were very, very large groups, like 22 songs, 20 songs each. And then, I had gotten advice that maybe cut them down and release them more frequently, so I was doing that. And through COVID there was a group of 4 that I called Tangerine.
Yep.
There was one that I called the Holiday Collection. Yay the Holidays. And then there's one, Wishful Thinking, which was done during COVID, like full on COVID. So there's some COVID songs in there. One's called The Shut In. That's particular to being shut in. And then...
And that was a premonition of COVID?
No, it was actually happened during.
Okay, so
it was written during
so
it, and I think we remember that's when we started actually recording in the garage.
Yeah.
Right, because we couldn't do it in the house and be too close to each other in our little studio. So
and then discovered the garage was the way to go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, pretty
so
cool.
Happy accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of happy accidents. You just let them happen.
Well, I remember the Christmas record. We couldn't decide. You were like, bring a bunch of percussion. And I had this wicker, like almost like a toy box that I put all my percussion in. And I was getting ready for the session. I'm going, should I? And I just said, you know what? I'm just throw the whole case in the car. Like, because I'm taking stuff out and then looking for another case. Let me just take the whole thing. So I walk in and just plop the thing down and we start going through stuff. And at one point you're like, what would it sound like if you just tipped the whole thing open and just emptied everything out? Yeah. Okay, let's try it.
And that made the record.
Right.
Yeah, at the end of one of the tunes. Just
Yeah.
like a crash ending of everything just spilling out.
Yeah. It was funny.
That was a good one.
Yep.
So those, what, did I forget any of the other ones I was doing?
The frickin'...
Oh, there was the Beatle thing.
Right.
I had gone to Liverpool for work, and I took a day-long Beatle tour. And I'm not usually a kind of a fanboy in that sense, but
if you're there, you got
I had to do it. And it ended up that it was just myself and a tour driver in a bus, like a little van, and he took me all around, a personal little tour of everything. And it was fantastic.
Do you think, did you get more than you would have, or he just did the thing? Who knows?
It was funny as he would come up to something, like he'd be driving up and you'd start hearing him hum Penny Lane. Then he'd come around the corner and you'd be in Penny Lane.
Oh, that's cool.
Or he'd do Strawberry Fields.
He took out a piccolo trumpet and just started playing it.
Yeah, so it was pretty, he had his shtick for the tour.
Sure.
But I kept like knocking him off, asking him, off the wall questions and things that, weren't, as straightforward questions. But we had a good time on that tour, and I remembered a lot and experienced a lot. And then I had this crazy story where I was sitting across the street from the Vic, which is a bar that they used to frequent before they were famous. So it's in the middle of Liverpool, and I was just sitting there after the tour. It was in the evening after dinner, and these 2 guys started walking towards me, and they were celebrating their birthday, I came to find out, and they had stopped about 6 yards from me and taken out a 6-pack and put it into a backpack, and then they had an empty holder of the 6-pack. Cardboard. And as they walked by me, I was facing, away from them. They tried to sneak up behind me and put it underneath my feet. so that I'd have to throw it out, or
just because you're sitting there.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there and they're just goofing. So I turned around. I mean, they were drunk and I wasn't.
Yeah, sure.
So I turned around and saw them, and we exchanged words or what have you, and they heard my accent, and immediately we were friends, and I went with them to the birthday party.
But you weren't like, yo.
No, I was just like kind of laughing because they were like stumbling knuckleheads, right? So.
Knuckleheads everywhere.
Yeah, every language there's knuckleheads.
Probably the Beatles were knuckleheads in their time, for all that we know. Probably.
We all are at a particular time. So.
I'm still in my knucklehead phase.
So these guys asked me to join them on their birthday romp, and I went to this other bar.
So you got hardcore Habitat.
Yeah, I lived it with
awesome.
those guys, and they introduced me, and so I had all this material. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I had all this material, and I wrote a song, and I had wanted to write one for a while, and about this experience, and I had like little snippets, and I started it, and it kind of started a little like Penny Lane. It was all these like things came together, and then it occurred to me, I'm like, well, wait a minute, this could be like something like the second side of Abbey Road, where everything's kind of strung together.
Yeah, sure.
So that's once I knew that, then I moved forward with writing it in that kind of vein, where I didn't have to worry about it repeating.
Mm-hmm.
I could go from one thing to another.
Right.
And it came out to be this like
this
10-minute 10-minute song that was one of my favorite memories recording with you was that, because we're like, all right, you're going to throw in a little
we can finally just
here,
go for it. Yeah.
And you're going to put a little this. So I'm like, put this beat in here. So we went through all the different sections and so on.
So funny.
And then, Joe Boyle played guitars and Bill Holloman.
Yeah, we all just went nuts.
Yeah, everybody
doing every
just,
quote.
Right,
exactly. I remember you saying, put as many quotes as you can possibly put. Okay, finally.
Yeah.
Instead of having to disguise them.
Yeah.
We're like, let's do it.
And that one's called Something Wonderful is the name of the EP, if you will. There's really only two songs.
Right.
One is this song called Pilgrimage to Mecca, which was that long thing, which I did this massive video for. Also during COVID, I learned how to use Premiere Pro and did this ridiculous video about the Beatles and the Titanic band and how they both came out of Liverpool, and it's like this whole crazy story, which if you watch it, pretty funny. You can find it on the website and all. Yeah. And then the second song on there was called Something Wonderful Tonight, which is where I took something, the Beatles something, and Wonderful Tonight, and it all stemmed from a quote that I had read in a book by Patty Boyd, where she says that there was a time where Eric Clapton came over the house and George Harrison came down with 2 guitars and 2 amps, and they sat in the living room and had a wordless guitar duel, which I thought was hysterical.
Sure.
So that's where the song kind of came from. That.
Oh, right.
Just mashed the songs together, and then the end of it has this Layla thing, which actually isn't Layla. It's like Layla and something, and the chords are going through all those different structures.
Because she's all of those people.
Right, exactly.
Patty is all of those songs. Yeah.
So that just, that's like
that's so
kind of where my mind goes when I'm thinking of these things.
Why not?
Yeah.
And then so what? Boyle did, now I remember, he did both.
No, he didn't.
All right. Yeah.
He didn't, because I needed to have a Clapton.
Sometimes I didn't hear the good.
And I needed to have I needed to have Clapton, and I needed to have George Harrison, of course. And because Patty Boyd then divorced both of them and married like a she married a businessman, I had to have somebody else come in and steal her away, and that's where Bill Holloman comes in with the saxophone. So you have Joe Boyle in this whole outtake of the song, him playing like a George Harrison part, and then Dennis Fancher playing his slide guitar, Dwayne Allman stuff in Layla. And then Bill starts to, pepper the sax in here and there to the end of the song. he
It's
just
all
like
sax.
takes it with this
Yeah.
sax solo out, and he wins the day. And I remember,
Yeah, I did something, didn't
yes,
I?
at the end, at the end, didn't you have the cowbell where you're like, you wanted to get the girl's attention, so at the end you started
Start
shaking it, like, look at me,
yeah,
look at
yeah,
me.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that was a good one.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and now I remember that. Yeah, that's nuts. That's cool. You got some. Your Beatle video was crazy.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things I look back on it, and I'm like, how did I do that?
Well, we had nothing else to do.
It was a lot of time, and like I learned how to do all sorts of blending and
Yeah.
cutting, and I made all sorts of graphics and learned how to alter the video and whatnot. So it was a great learning experience. Took a while to do. Came out, I'm proud of the way it came out. It's definitely
Now you can make videos. at
yeah,
least.
something to see. I threw a video together for this record that I came in to talk about, which is Diminished Fifth.
Yeah.
And so that started out as another large group of songs like Dancing in G and like Blues in C. And it was going to be called Diminished Fifth, and it was going to have, 18 songs or something like that.
Crazy.
But then I was speaking with the Blues Society, and they said, well, we have this thing with, an album type of competition if you want to submit something to that. So the album had a bunch of blues songs, blues pop, if you will.
Sure.
So I put those together and remixed some of the older blues songs that I had and put that together. And since I took those out, I had to rename it because I wanted to use Diminished Fist for this other group. And then I called that Bravo Sierra, which was the name of one of the songs.
Right.
And so that was back in October.
Yeah.
I put that out. And then that left me with these 8 songs for this, for Diminished Fifth. And the concept of Diminished Fifth is that it's, it's a musical term. However, it's also a double meaning in that it's as if you drank some of the fifth, fifth of bourbon, fifth of vodka.
Okay.
So, and it's kind of like the drunken truths that come out.
Oh.
You dance a little faster. You get angry a little faster. You say things you wouldn't necessarily say. So that's kind of the theme of all the songs that holds it together.
Wow.
And
what does diminished have to do with it? What is diminished?
You drank
you
half of
drank it. It's gone. I got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what the theme of it is.
Okay.
Diminished.
I got you.
Right. And there's a couple songs about old age and a lot of reaction to things I've been experiencing with family members and whatnot. And it's a hard thing to deal with, and so a lot of
you want to know what I thought it was?
No, please tell me.
Well, because I kind of I guess I was kind of on the right track. I sort of detected like what a drag it is to get old, kind of possible. I kind of got that, and I thought, well, we're in our 50s, the diminished fifth decade of our, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I was like. I wonder if that's what he means. I have no idea.
No, that's a good interpretation.
You know what I'm saying?
I think if you leave things open and don't make them exact,
right?
It allows for that type of interpretation.
Yeah,
I have something in mind when I'm writing it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's very clear. Sometimes it's a feeling. Sometimes it's just a play on words.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm writing them for a particular purpose. Like there's a song called Euphoria on the album, as in Y-O-U-phoria.
Right.
And, that's inspired by my wife.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason it started to be written was I was going to this songwriter camp, and they wanted to have a song written that they could play and critique and whatnot.
Sure.
So I worked this one. I'm like, I'm going to put together, something that's, got some cleverness to it. And
Sure.
so I came up with this Euphoria tune, and Joe Boyle played guitar on that. You played drums on that. I think I played bass on that.
Okay.
Because I started during COVID. I started
learning to play everything.
Yeah, playing whatever.
More so.
Yeah, more so. So I took the bass part, and I would do the bass after everything else was done.
Yeah, right. McCartney style.
Yeah, exactly. And so I enjoyed that. It was fun. Not to take anything away from how we would do it early on when
sure.
Joe O'Brien,
we
and
did a lot
me
of
would
those,
get together and do those, and those were great too. I'd always love to.
Got to get him in the garage.
Yeah, we do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've never done that.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Anyway. I think I may have done it with Evan.
Okay.
Evan Kalish and him
That's
once.
funny. Yeah.
I think, and this was like towards the end of COVID.
Yeah.
But it was in the winter and it was really cold.
Yeah, we're getting cold out there.
It was getting cold.
Funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
How do you know when does like the album concept, like do you go, I'm going to write a song with all of these themes, or you just write and they form themselves into a theme as you go and go, oh, I see where I'm headed, or like how? Probably all different.
Yeah, it happens a lot of different ways. I've got a huge backlog of songs.
Yeah.
So when when I was doing this Diminished Fifth as an example,
yeah,
I had this song called Delusions of Grandeur, right?
Which why is that not in the lexicon?
Right.
That's one of the funniest things ever.
So,
Delusions of grandeur,
right.
In case you didn't catch that out there.
And the again, it goes with the diminished fifth. You're drinking, and I wrote this song back when I was playing in this little tiny pub, probably about as big as this, literally as big as this room, and it's called the Cellar Bar. And I was playing with a guy named John Quincy Adams IV. He was in the line,
okay,
right? And we wrote 3 songs together.
And this is where?
This is in Larchmont, New York. I
Yeah.
grew up in Mamaroneck, New York, and the bar was in Larchmont. And he had this chord structure, and he said to me, he's like, all right, we had written, I think, 1 or 2 other songs. One was Left Hand Lane, which is one of the ones I play a lot.
Yep.
And, I was always writing things that were, philosophical in nature, or not necessarily about romance or male, female, or, binary, non-binary, whatever, just 2 people who are into each other. I didn't write a whole lot about that. But so he told me when he gave me the chords, he's like, all right, you take this, but it has to be about a girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I promise it'll be about a girl.
Yeah.
So the theme of this one is, there's a guy sitting at a bar. He's diminished his glass at the very least.
Sure.
And he is now looking across the bar at this woman that he is really attracted to,
Sure.
and this whole story is going on where he wants her to leave with him and whatnot. So that's where that, and he doesn't get the girl at all.
No,
but it's
probably gets arrested.
Yeah, he probably does. At some point, he ends up face down.
Yeah,
for sure. But on that one, Bill played some fantastic horns. You played the drums on that.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and Anthony Robustelli, who's a friend of mine from high school, he played the keyboards on it, and he just does this ridiculous solo at the end of it, which is fantastic.
Funny.
So that was an old song that was sitting there since 1995.
Yeah.
So when I had this theme of this diminished fifth, I'm like, all right, here's a song that I can use here.
All right, okay.
Then
some of them are new and some of them are resurrected.
Yeah, some of them. When I was much younger and far less skilled musically. I had just started,
Yeah.
like my instrument, and because I started when I was 20.
Yeah.
Started very late. But the writing always came to me quickly, and I was very conscious of the fact that a lot of songs were coming to me. So I was letting them come and writing them down and, recording them, just demo version as quickly as I could.
Yeah, because I don't know how long it's going to last.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, someday I'll, have better skills and I'll be able to go back and kind of produce them as if I'm producing somebody else besides myself.
Yeah.
And another song on this Diminished Fifth is called Stir This.
Yeah.
And I wrote that when I was working in the music business, and it's probably it may be the only kind of angry, mean song I ever wrote.
Wow.
And it was like a reaction to how I was treated by certain people there. And that's also a very old song. And that one, I had an old demo that had myself singing it and singing harmony. So when I redid this one, I flew in the old harmony. So it's like me singing with myself from, 30 years ago. Which was,
that's funny.
It's like, if I didn't say that, nobody would know.
Yeah.
But
But
for me, it's like a kick.
Yeah. That's funny.
So there's that. So
So
and then
some are new and some are old.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah, and then the Amy What Now?
Yeah.
That came from a party probably 5 years ago. A friend had a party, and a bunch of us got together. I think it was like in September, and a lot of their kids had just gone off to college.
Oh, boy.
So it was, the concept of the song, and I think, you kind of nailed it where you were saying you're older and, looking back at things and whatnot. So this is a song about, Amy What Now was something that we heard in conversation. I have a friend, Amy, whose dad would always say to her, Amy, what now?
Yeah,
like
right.
Every time she'd say something,
Yeah.
he'd be like, what now? And I'm like, oh, that's hysterical.
Yeah, sure.
So I wrote that down, and now it becomes, what now, meaning, or what do we do now that we're free from the kids?
Oh, I see.
So that's what Amy What Now is kind of about. And all the lines in the song came from things that I heard or saw at the party. There was one guy there who was single, and he was, on one of the apps and swiping right and left,
I heard, Yeah.
So there's that is in the song.
Yeah.
Another one of my friends, Andy, had just returned from working in Tokyo and brought home some Asian food, and that's in there. And
I heard all.
and there's a comment about at the end of it that says I should thank my wife for her lonely nights. It's only right to thank my wife for her lonely nights because I played so much, and Sue stayed home quite a bit when I was out just doing gigging and whatnot, and so I got a shout out to her for doing that.
Amy ever hear the tune?
Yeah. In fact, I had them all over.
Did her dad ever hear the song?
Her dad hasn't heard it. But I had them all over and had them sing their parts on that part of the song where it like kind of goes back and forth with everything. So I had them do that. I haven't finally mixed that. I ended up doing it because it was going to get too disjointed. But there will be a version that has that. Yeah.
What is that?
What is that? I don't know.
I don't know. Are they playing in the next room?
Yeah.
I guess they are. I don't know what's up with that.
Is that a Steely Dan song?
I'm not sure.
They're fading out.
They are. Oh, okay. The door got shut. Good.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, man. Dave, I was ready to. I was going to interrupt and stop, like they're playing music or something. It was so loud. It was.
The door was open.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's
all right. Anyway, yeah.
I'm just looking at what I have here. So that was Amy What Now. Then there was there's a song on there called Where Do All the Birds Go at Night.
Of course.
And that one, have a very clear memory of us recording that because, the joke or the punchline in there is where'd all the birds go at night to the disco.
Right.
So it's just a thought of, and why are the hens so uptight? Because the cocks are all with the birds at the dance at the disco.
Sure.
And when you were recording the drums, I remember you saying, well, this bird, so that, you know how they're kind of frantic?
Yeah.
So you're going to put that into the drum track, which is there.
Sure.
And at the end. Yeah.
Well, what usually happens, I mean, I do, it's just, it's a thing with me. I don't know why drummers wouldn't do this. I don't know how I got in the habit. I think I first got in the habit because I'm not real good at writing charts from scratch. I can do it. I don't see, how do I put it? So like if I'm going to do a session and somebody sends me the music, I don't want to get, unless I have a conversation, I don't want to get too set in what I'm going to play.
Yeah.
Because concept wise, I'll listen to it and I'll go, okay, how hard or how easy is this going to be? And kind of get the structure and go, okay, I have a couple of ideas that I'm not even going to say anything at first. Because if I get too set in like what I think I'm going to play, and then I get to the session and whoever's writing the tune is like, nah, we got to do this. So I don't get too set. So I won't write out a chart.
Yeah.
But what I'll do is I'll just go, give me the lyrics. And then that way, at least I have something that's the structure of the song that I can make notes like your pattern's going to change here. So I got in the habit of asking people when we're doing sessions to like, just give me the lyrics. Either send them to me beforehand or whatever. I'd rather do that than write out a chart. Because if I write out a chart, I'm going to be tempted to write parts. I don't want to write my parts.
Right.
And I realized after doing that for a little while, I was like, oh, this is actually a good idea because, I don't want to, someone's writing a song about a tulip growing and I'm going to like be smashing the drums. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I can draw on what the vibe of, it's not like you can't create, I can't make somebody cry with the snare drum. But, I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. Then I'd rather know, I want to kind of know what the song is about.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I told you that, what usually ends up happening when we do sessions, it's like you'll have a scratch track to a click in the lyrics, and I'll just start the session reading the lyrics, listening to the tune, sometimes for the first time, even, because the way we work, you don't even send me stuff.
I never send you anything.
Yeah.
Just, I got some songs, you want to come?
Yeah. And I'll just clear my head and go, all right. And what always ends up happening is just completely, often just reading the title, I'm like, and then we just sit there and listen to the tune. And I try not to crack up before the tune's over. And then, but your songs are always funny because it's a chance to be like, all right, like you say, this song is about birds. I'm going to play drums like a bird.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure anyone would have figured it out. The song was about birds or whatever, but I want to kind of get into it.
Yeah.
Just go, how is this going to make me change what I'm going to play on drums?
Yeah. It's a create,
we're
really creating it as we're there together.
Yeah.
Figuring it out. Like I will I'll write the arrangement out and only out of necessity. Like if we had all the time in the world, I'd be more than happy to work with everybody to help me with the song structures and all that kind of stuff. But,
but you know how to, you don't need help with that.
But it's also good to have that collaboration, I would love to be able to sit in a studio for a week and write something there or whatever. But that's economically and time-wise not practical.
So the way we do it.
Yeah. So and I've become very comfortable with the way we do it, where I'll I write the song and then I'll do a scratch track to a click.
Yep.
Vocal, guitar.
Yep.
Everything that happens in this, rhythmic wise, I can get out of my guitar.
Yep. And you'll put the chord chart.
Yeah. And then the structure, here's a chorus for fill and all that. And then you listen to it once, then you listen to it again, and you don't even have sticks in your hands.
Oh.
When you're doing, I don't know if you noticed that.
No.
You don't even have sticks in your hands.
No.
And so you don't start anything until listening to the song twice, and getting an idea of
Yeah,
what it is,
just-
and then we start going from there.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I'll just go, do you have any,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like you just kind of figure out if I'm going down the wrong road, just stop me or whatever, we'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
that's usually how it works.
Yeah, and I
But-
think because the acoustic guitar is there, it's often like you're not doing anything rubbing against that. So
Right.
that's
Right,
there.
like you say, the DNA of the whole tune is in
Right.
in the thing.
And then I throw away that DNA and then play to you. So
Right.
when I go to the next step
Right.
after that, I
Right.
have your tracks,
Right.
and then, I can comp them if
Yeah.
there's sections that we like or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, it works out.
And then I'll play again to that, and then I'll send it to
Yeah.
whoever else we're bringing
Yeah,
in.
whoever's
you know,
next.
whoever's in there.
It's
so-
like a fire hydrant. Everyone's,
bunch of folks.
yeah.
So on this one, you played drums on 6 of the tunes,
Okay. Yeah.
and then
Yeah. There was one that had some fancy drumming. I was like, it doesn't sound like me.
that was either Scott Allshouse.
Yeah,
He
right.
played on Stir This,
Sure.
and then Damn. Alex Josa played.
Oh, I don't know him.
He played
That's
on
cool.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I went
funny.
down to his studio, and he's got this massive drum kit. Like, I don't know, there was
Yeah.
had to be 5, 6 toms, 2
Yeah, yeah.
floor toms.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, he had the whole thing.
It
And he
happens.
gave me all the tracks. I'm like, I don't know what to do with it.
Oh,
I can't
right,
even
right.
mix all
Yeah,
these, so I
yeah.
just give me the 2 overheads and a snare and a kick.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
Um,
That's funny.
But I have them all.
Oh, I got to ask you. Wait. What's the one? Name the songs. I'll remember.
Amy, What Now? Where Do All the Birds Go at Night? Delusions of Grandeur, Euphoria, Freedom Trails, Stir This, Backside of Life.
What's the one that's
And
like a?
Damn.
It's almost like a cha-cha.
Delusions of Grandeur?
Is that it?
I think so. Yeah.
Did I play congas on that?
Yes.
Oh, because I was like, oh, it's conga players, good.
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't
you?
recognize. I don't know. I sometimes do,
Yeah.
but I played anyway. I'm not.
Yeah, you
I'm not
played-
much of a. I like to think I am, but it's not
Oh.
what I do. But I was like, oh, because I was like, I wonder who's playing that. That sounds good. And I was like, I guess that's me, but
Yeah.
I thought maybe you brought someone in. That's funny.
No, you played.
Oh, hey.
That's what we do. Also, once we have the songs where the point where I've got the vocal and the guitar,
Right.
keyboards, bass, then you'll come back and we'll put the percussion.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
do
And
it,
In
yeah.
this case, you put percussion on everything except for Stir This, because I remember you're like, I don't really hear anything on this,
Oh, far out.
so we didn't. Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
and then let's see, bass wise, Bill played on Amy What Now.
Oh, that's funny.
And Guy DeVito played on Stir This and Backside of Life.
Okay.
And
And then you did an Irish version of Backside of Life.
yeah, that one. I was playing during COVID or towards the tail end of COVID. I was playing with Joe O'Brien
Yeah.
up at the Cambridge Brew House.
Yeah.
Cambridge House Brew Pub.
Yeah.
And we were playing there because they couldn't have any type of cover music, so we were playing nights of all original
Yeah.
music.
Cool.
So he and I would switch off playing our original songs, and Joe's got some great original songs.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah,
didn't
he really
know
does.
that.
And then
We used to
that's-
play. We've played covers there though. What happened?
there was something with ASCAP or
Really?
during COVID and stuff where there was some disagreement.
Whoa.
So on the safe side, and for me it was like
Yeah, you're like
fantastic.
great. Yeah, I'm the only songwriter in Connecticut. Perfect.
I could play for 2 days.
Yeah.
So that was great, and so Evan would play drums with us, and sometimes we just do it as a trio, and then we I think Dennis Fancher came, and then Rick Hanville, we got to know Rick Hanville, and he would come and really enjoyed playing with us,
Yeah.
and that's where Freedom Trails came from,
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
tell you about that. But Backside of Life, we were going to do a St. Patrick's Day version of this all original thing, and so I said, well, I have to write an Irish song for this, and that's where Backside of Life came out from.
So you
there.
just played all your originals like you normally, but you played them somehow.
in Irish.
That's funny.
Yeah, so we did that, and then there's a crazy story that during COVID I found out some. There are a lot of crazy things that happened during COVID, but to me, right before COVID, I found out through Ancestry.com that I have an older sister.
Oh, wow.
Right? So there's a song that came out of that that's on the next album, but so I'll leave that for another time. But when I found this out, everything's is fine and good. But I also found out at the same time that Guy DeVito is my third cousin.
Oh, wow.
So, and I was looking through it.
What are the odds of that?
It's
like someone
crazy.
that you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been, I've known him for a while now. And so we've only been cousins for about, 4 years. But even crazier than that, I had gone to see my aunt. And I think this is before I knew Guy was my cousin. Down in New Jersey, I was going to, they were having a birthday party, and I was taking Sophie and my daughter Sophie and Nick down to North Carolina, and we were doing some college tours before they went to school. And my aunt was having a party, so we were going to stop at the party and then go. And we went, but we were a week early for the party to my aunt's house, and we knocked on the door.
On purpose?
She's like, no, accidentally.
Yeah. It's just like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, and my parents, I was leaving my parents' house to go to my aunt's house. My parents had been invited to the party. My parents didn't tell me that the party was next week.
Was it moved without you knowing,
No,
or you
it was
just blew it out your ass and you
I
didn't
just
know?
had the wrong day.
Oh.
But anyway, they kindly let us in, and we were eating some Chinese food, and we started talking about what I've been up to.
And then you wrote
and music.
a song called "The Right Party, Wrong Day" or
Right,
something,
so
which we just did.
Let me
We're
write
just
that
starting
down.
it right now. Yeah.
So as we were sitting there talking, I was talking for whatever reason. I think it was somewhere past St. Patrick's Day, because Guy and the group up there in Springfield, he has the Yank Celt Band, and the Yank Celt Band they do this series of Irish gigs, all Irish music, and there's a fiddle player in the band who's a friend of Guy's, a very good friend of Guy's. And I was talking about this, and
Good person to know. Someone play fiddle.
I had gone to my aunt, and we were talking about it, and she's like, "Oh, Allison, who's my aunt's sister, her husband is a fiddle player. He plays up in Massachusetts. His name," and I was like, "Craig Eastman?" She's like, "Yes."
Oh,
I was
brother. It's just everywhere you go, you're back where you started.
Yeah, it was.
That's
it's
so
nuts.
funny.
So the reason why I
Wow.
bring that up at all is because Craig played the fiddle on the on the Backside of Life, which came out great. And then
What's that joke? You know that joke? Speaking of Irish, what is it? That joke? The two
I'm
guys.
sure there's a lot of Irish
yeah,
jokes.
two guys. Oh, where are you from, mate? I'm from. Where did you go to school? Went to school. Where did you grow up? And it's the exact same address. And they're going on and on. And someone goes, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, the Flannery twins are drunk again," or whatever. Like they discover, like they don't. Anyway. Boom, whatever.
You got one of those sounds?
I do actually. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
gonna find it. Though.
Yeah, and then on that one, Bill, I wanted to get a like a penny, like a Irish whistle.
Yeah.
And I had gone to Dublin last summer with some friends, and I went to multiple music stores
Yeah.
looking to get an Irish
Penny
whistle
Yeah.
in E. And I could not find one
Oh.
anywhere I went in E.
They don't play any. I wonder why.
It seems strange. I could not find one. I've since been told that, yes, of course, they have one in E, but none of the stores had them.
Wow.
And I
That's
know
weird.
that D is one of the keys that they play in
Yeah.
quite frequently. So I told this to Bill, and Bill played on the recorder. He played a part for the tune, which is just
Right. Well,
it's
he'll
fantastic.
figure it out. I'm going through this with the so I get the Led Zeppelin tribute band, and this is funny. There's a Oh God, I'll try to make it quick. So, Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin. There's a cowbell. Okay, back then there was only one cowbell on the planet, because Latin Percussion is a company that came along later and they made cowbell. But in the beginning, there was like Ludwig cowbell.
Yeah,
They made one cowbell. It's on Honky Tonk Women. It's on.
yeah, they call it the Bessie, right?
It's an E. Yeah, it's just it don't. And you know that Bonham never played a cowbell again. He probably just like, oh, this is the root of the da. This is the right note. I'll just play it.
Right.
Played the cowbell on one song ever. That's one of the big songs. If you're gonna be in the Zeppelin tribute, you start and nobody. So I was like, oh, I could find one of those cowbells. Yeah, no, you won't. You'll go on eBay. You'll spend $300 on if you could find one, and then they break. So I'm like, oh, I didn't realize how rare that was. Nobody. So now I'm watching all these Zeppelin tributes. No one's got the right cowbell, and it's jarring because it's
wrong note. Right?
It's like the wrong note. So I'm like, so now I'm on the search. I go, to Guitar Center. I go to Sam Ash. I'm hitting every cowbell trying to, I got my tuner, and none of them are E. They're just none of them are close. And I finally, on a whim, I go to Music Arts, one of the places I work, and I pull one off the wall, and it's a fifth away. So it's in the right key.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this will work. So I call up Tracy, and I go, hey, man, I finally, because we're trying to solve it. And I go, I found the cowbell. I got it. This is going to work as a fifth. He goes, we're in E flat. Like, that was the end of it. And then I'm like, no one... I'm like, someone's got to. And then I thought, what you would do if you were really serious about it, which no one is, but you would just sample it.
Yeah.
And you would just have a pad. That's the way I think that you would do it for real. If you were just playing through a PA, somebody out there who's going to be that. The Beatles too, they have that cowbell. It's the same. Ludwig was the only one that made a cowbell.
And that they're rare. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, because they're finite. I mean, if they
right.
exist, somebody already has them, So, like, if you want to buy one on eBay, you're going to pay for it.
Right.
So, isn't that funny? I'm just saying, like with the tin whistle, you're finally like, I found one, and you're like, well, we're in E flat. Never mind. So anyway.
That is pretty funny.
So, if anyone has a Ludwig brass cowbell,
John's in the market for
yeah. So funny.
Huh.
Yep. And I'm like, well, why are we in E flat? And then me and Tracy start talking. Well, maybe we can cut. I have a buddy of mine that has a saw. Maybe we can find tune the cow. Now we're getting into it. Just for one song. Yeah, just for one song.
The weight of it.
Stupid. I'm like, I got a better idea. Why don't we just not play that freaking song? Like, let's just not play that song. I don't have to worry about it.
But it's one of their biggest songs.
It's one of their biggest songs. It's the first song in the set.
Right.
It's the first thing.
It opens up with a cowbell. Tong, tong, tong.
Here's the cowbell, the part right. That's where it is. It's like, and there's nothing going on.
Right.
It's just the cowbell. And to me, I don't have perfect pitch or anything, but when it's no, it's in the wrong key.
Right.
So anyway.
So then after that song, the cowbell can just go to the dressing room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you play it throughout the tune, but it's like a cowbell solo, but it's got to be, I guess it's E. Anyway, I'll play it for you. But yeah, trivia.
That's right.
Yeah, I just took up 10 minutes of our time.
Yeah.
Talking about the cowbell.
You may have like a new, if you could figure out how to make it, then you could put them on eBay.
Well, okay, so now I'm like, because I'm like, why doesn't someone just make a cowbell? And I'm like, did Ludwig copyright the tone of E? I'm like, why didn't somebody make a cowbell by now to replicate that thing? Because if Honky Tonk Woman is the same cowbell.
Right.
And it's like, why didn't, and I'm like, Ludwig must own E or something, like there's like these
name.
Two old ladies like own
How
happy birthday. Like every time you wish someone a happy birthday, they get paid or something.
Yeah. That vowel isn't even in Ludwig. They can't own it.
Yeah, right.
There's no way.
Yeah. So anyway. Yep. So he played recorder instead.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah. It's it's just, it's exactly what I heard in my head.
Yeah.
So that came out.
Yeah.
It's a
Put a
riot.
capo on the cowbell.
Say what?
Put a capo on the cowbell.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Cowbell capo. We got to figure
Yeah.
something out.
Or you know how they put that little so you don't dent the rim, they have a little piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Maybe that can change the tone.
I don't know. I have to figure it out. I mean, I've been going on message boards, just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, it bothers me.
Well, it's a little quest. You're on a quest.
Yeah. Well,
I
know
like
how-
those quests.
I don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Someone's got to. Maybe that's what I'll do. Invent the cowbell. You
Yeah.
know, like why is no one doing this?
Yeah. You drive by in your big, huge car and like he invented the
Yeah,
cowbell.
calling all
He
Zeppelin tributes.
reinvented the cowbell.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Now he owns it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. How did?
He's got an E in his name, so you can, you got an
Yeah,
E in it, so you
that's
can own it.
Yeah. Right, I know.
Ludwig, no, but Peckman, yes.
Got
there's
a
an
lot
E.
of nerve. Yeah, it's a drag. Actually, all right. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about the cowbell. We we got 10 minutes. I hope I didn't burn up. What else do you wanna get
No,
to
there's
that we didn't?
just let me think. Just shout out to who else helped me on the recording of this.
Yeah.
Just the last tune to talk about is the Freedom Trails.
Yeah.
So that's the one that's about handsome cabs.
Yeah.
It's about a cowboy in the city.
Yeah.
And he sees a handsome cab and he just gets depressed. He can't
Yeah. Right.
see the
It's not
horse.
like
He
that.
wants to set him
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
So so that came from that that series of shows we did with Joe O'Brien and Rick Hanville. And one evening, Rick just started playing this finger picking ditty,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of started singing over it. And the whole idea of you may think I'm from the sticks, I'm from the city,
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that makes me smile. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that. I'm like, I'm gonna finish that song, Rick. So I did, and then the handsome cab came into it, and then Rick played the guitars on that one.
Oh, okay.
And some organ and stuff. Also, he played on the album, and then another guitar player. I had Mick Connolly. I just recently
Yeah.
met.
You told me about that.
Mick's fantastic. He and his wife Lucinda own a Red Room Sound Studios in Torrington. It's
Oh,
all
that's
analog.
right. I've heard about that.
It's fantastic.
I wonder if he'll
room.
come here. Can I get him?
Yeah,
Come here.
absolutely.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think they're around Christmas and
Oh,
there's
okay.
some kind
All
of
right.
scheduling thing.
All right,
But
shout out.
I'm
Yeah.
sure both of them would love to do it.
Yeah. Cool.
But he played the guitar on Stir This, which he just did.
Yeah.
He did a great job on that. Talked about Anthony. Just looking at everybody else. The big surprise is we got Evan Kalish to sing.
Oh, really? Did I
Yeah.
miss that?
So on Delusions of Grandeur,
Oh boy.
he's really the I don't want to say the punchline, but he's the what I was thinking when we put it in there was Blinded Me with Science.
Yeah. Right.
They
yeah,
have
sure,
that
sure.
sample of science.
Yeah.
So I have him in there. There's a part within Where Do All the Birds Go at Night to the disco, and he does.
Oh, really?
He's got
I didn't know.
really, really low voice
Oh, that's funny.
that you wouldn't expect out of him,
Mm.
and he came in and sang that part, which makes me smile
Oh,
every
yeah.
time, which is fantastic.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I think I covered everybody. Vocals. So my daughter Sophie did a lot of the harmonies with me, and also Lisbeth Ramos, who is a singer in her own right from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
She does a lot of bachata.
Okay.
I believe it's
Yep.
referred to as, and she came in and did a bunch of harmonies with this also. She had worked with me on
Yeah.
the
I
book
remember that.
on this
Yeah.
one here.
Yeah.
The Trilogia del Diablo, which is that's
That's a whole thing.
that's a whole thing in and of itself. But anyway, she did the vocals on that with me because there's like a couple parts full female
Yeah.
lead. So she came back and sang in English and killed it. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it was a fun.
And we're doing something else already. What's the next one?
Yeah, so there's two next ones that I've been working on. So there was
The Planet.
yeah, it's a space opera.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
It's that came out of that song. So you're asking me how do these things kind of
Yeah.
develop? So
Yeah.
I had wrote that song, Venus and Mars.
Yep.
When I had COVID, I was locked in the basement. I think I may have told the story last time I was here. And I was watching a David Bowie biopic where he was touring the United States before Ziggy Stardust, and he had a 12-string guitar.
Yeah.
And he was just playing solo. And I have a 12-string guitar, so I just started kind of fiddling around with that. And this song came out called Venus and Mars. And, where the lyrics came for this was I did some research on the planet Venus, the planet Mars, and the peculiarities that they each have. Like, as an example, Venus rotates counterclockwise to everything else. Right? It's the only planet that goes a different way.
That's weird.
So that's in the lyric. So the lyric is, it's a song about coming to awareness of how much you love someone. And a lot of the lyric, though, came out of these facts about Mars and these facts about Venus. And at that point, I'm like, well, okay, there's a song, but now perhaps I should have a song about Mars. So I wrote a song about Mars, and then Mercury slipped in there, and then there's a song about Venus. So it's like it's like a song suite of 7 things. One's 30 seconds,
Sure.
and so it's like a little. So that's what I'm working on now. We just did the drums for that, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And I've got the final conclusion song that we have to do still, so we'll do that shortly.
And then Pluto is like the hidden track.
Yeah, it's not really a planet anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm
is it?
saying.
It's the hidden track.
Yeah, it's just kind of,
That's a good one.
right?
That's a good one.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Now my mind's going.
Yeah. Yeah, just an extra hidden track. It's
Yeah.
Pluto.
Yeah,
Not really on the track list.
No. It's
Yeah.
not, it's not. Is it really a song?
See
It's
what I'm-
not really a
that's what
song.
See? That's what I'm
Kinda-
saying.
It's kind of a ditty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? You're thinking.
That's where it goes.
Hey,
Yeah.
Well, at least it goes somewhere. That's cool.
Yeah, it keeps me entertained.
Well, that's what I always think. I get into my things too, and I'll get to a point where I just go, man, what the hell's wrong with me? And I go, well, some guys golf. Like everybody's got something
Right.
that they do. Are we any more foolish than somebody else?
Mhm.
I don't know. Some guy you could be out there loving. You're never going to be. Well, it's not like I don't mean like you're not going to be a professional musician because you have been and you are. But it's like guys play golf. They're never going to be professional golfers, and they have a lot of time.
It's where they find a joy.
Right.
It's where do you find
Invested
your
in-
joy? What do you
Right.
what makes you feel good?
Right. I don't have any. I've never found joy even for a split second, but I've heard about it.
Well, once you find that cowbell,
No.
there'll be some joy, I think.
Not quite yet. Almost. No, you're right. Yeah, I gotta find that
damn.
cowbell.
Could have ended like that. Would have been a nice ending.
Oh
But no.
no,
You know.
no, we could. Let's do it. All right, you ready?
Well, now we should keep talking. 'Cause
Al Guimaraes was here again. Hey, if you want to hear the origin story, look up Al again because he was here a while back, and that was more of the like, just who are you, where'd you come from, what do you. So we just got into it. We just want to talk about the album today. So, Jon Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School Music and Dance, be with downtown Portland. Come over, go and say like, listen to Al's other podcast if you wish, please, to find out how this all started, and look for the new album called
Diminished Fifth.
Diminished Fifth. I'm going to play it again because
Yeah.
why not? All right. So thanks.
I think we're up to 8 times.
Yeah.
But hey, you don't have to pay me copyright for
That's
the
right. That's
for
right.
the
Yeah.
drum track.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
you
That's
play
right.
it as much as you want.
Oh man, imagine. I'd be like, let me turn that off.
That's 3 cents. That's 3 cents.
Yeah, right. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Guimaraes
Thanks for
was
having
here.
me.
Yeah, you got it. All right, that is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.